All right. I think we can get going. Good morning, everyone. Hello and welcome to today's webinar. Thank you all for joining us today. So today's webinar is quite exciting. This is Microsoft 365 persona-based use cases. Morning. So thank you all for joining us today. We hope that you enjoy this session. We'll see a lot of hands-on exercises of how we can use Copilot in real life scenarios, how we can utilize its capabilities. Um, so before we get going, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Karim Abdelhamid. I'm a cloud solutions architect and developer and a Microsoft certified trainer. And in today's webinar, we'll be first looking into an introduction about Copilot, what it is, what does it do, how does it work, how can we make sure that our interactions with Copilot and our data is safe, private, and secure within the responsible AI framework of Microsoft. Then we move on to reviewing some best practices when it comes to prompt engineering or creating prompts. And a prompt here is the request that comes from the user, which is myself or whoever is using Copilot. So we'll be looking into some best practices of how can I create an effective prompt to make sure that I receive a response that is the most relevant to what I'm trying to achieve and the most beneficial as well. Um, sorry, let me just, okay. Then after that, we'll be looking into some real life scenarios, persona-based use cases. So we'll be looking into situations where an executive might use Copilot or someone from finance or human resources or operations. So we'll be wearing different hats, assuming different roles and responsibilities, and then using Copilot to get through some challenges maybe that we face in day-to-day life as people within these personas or roles. And then finally, we've got a very nice exercise that so we'll be taking things a bit away from Microsoft 365 Copilot into Copilot on Edge. So we'll be going into the Copilot website and trying to create a dream destination. So it's a lot of imagination that's involved, a lot of creativity, and we'll use Copilot to help us create or generate ideas first of all, and then to visualize these ideas as images, and we'll get to see amazing results. And of course, all of these exercises are on Microsoft Learn. I'll be dropping the links to the courses on Microsoft Learn as we go, so that if you would like to, and it's actually highly recommended if you'd like to go on yourself and try all of these different use cases, as well as the exercise at the end of a dream destination creation exercise, which is a lot of fun. And we get to see how different prompts and changing different strategies using different techniques in creating my prompt can help me create different results and can help me also visualize things differently. And it's sort of a back and forth between my brain and Copilot's brain in creating these ideas and then visualizing them. So without further ado, let's begin with what is Microsoft 365 Copilot. What Copilot is a large language model, so it has been trained on vast amounts of data. All of them are very different data, so it knows how to deal with articles, research papers, trained on different websites, different documents as well. So it can read Word documents, PowerPoint documents, Excel sheets. So all of these data were collected, and then the generative AI model was trained on them. And now we've got a large language model with the ability to generate content based on a user's request. But it doesn't stop there. So another component that makes Microsoft 365 Copilot is Microsoft Graph. And Microsoft Graph, we can think of it as the intricate web of relationships that underlies my Microsoft 365 tenant. So if we think about each organization having its own resources all within a Microsoft tenant. So we've got different users, the hierarchy of these users, who works with whom. So the hierarchy, who's at the top, who's managing other teams, who's just a team member, who collaborates with other teams. We've also got the calendars, so the different meetings that are happening, and we'll see as part of the capabilities that we can record these meetings and have Copilot transcribe these meetings so that in real time during the meeting. So let me just put it up on the screen here. So during the meeting, when it's recorded, we can see here a Copilot icon. It's just showing this message because I'm not the host of the meeting. It's from a different tenant. So assuming that we're all within the same Microsoft tenant, you'll get a side panel here, a chat, where you can chat with Copilot about what's going on within the meeting. So I could be running late, so someone who's just come in to the meeting would be able to chat with Copilot and ask them, what did I miss? I just joined. What were the main points discussed, etc. We can also draft emails. We can schedule meetings using Copilot, generate Word documents, PowerPoint slides, analyze Excel sheets, and create pivot tables and charts within Excel sheets. So all of these capabilities. So what makes this possible is having the web of relationships, which is Microsoft Graph, that maps out all these different relationships, and then applying on top of those relationships, the large language model capabilities of Copilot. And now we have sort of an assistant to each and every user. So there's always, and that's where the name comes from, where I'm the pilot and the AI model is the co-pilot. So I can always count on it to do some of the heavy lifting for me, tasks that would take me a very long time to achieve, such as going through an email thread and summarizing it, or analyzing a meeting and creating minutes of meeting and seeing what was discussed, what were the main points, assigning different tasks to people, or just getting the latest updates from my communications. So all of these things I can just ask Copilot to do them for me, and Copilot will have the capability and visibility to go into Microsoft Graph and draw insights from all of these different relationships. So over here, we've got a visual representation of Microsoft Graph, and you can see what the representation shows, that we've got a vast web of different relationships. So we've got the, let's just get the pointer. So we've got the user over here. Now this user works with other users. They work on different documents together, and they might have some tasks assigned. There are emails within their inbox. They can have Teams chat conversations. They're parts of groups. They work on files, Excel sheets, notes, etc. They have events, calendar, meetings. So all of these components are mapped out onto Microsoft Graph, and that's what gives the ability to Copilot to really just go beyond being a generative AI, but it's about being a generative AI that knows my workflow, knows the people that I'm working with, knows my day-to-day, the ins and outs of it, and what am I working on right now, what are the latest updates. So all of these mapped out relationships are what gives Copilot this capability. By the way, throughout the session, if you've got any questions, you can feel free to drop them in chat or raise your hand, come off mute, so we can keep it an interactive session. Right. So with everything that we just mentioned and we're about to see as well, I think it becomes very apparent that Copilot is not aimed at specific people within the organization. So it's not aimed at only people of certain roles within the organization, but in fact, every single user within the organization can benefit from Copilot's capabilities. So it can be someone at the help desk helping customers, a customer service agent, sales specialists, IT engineers, leaders, executives, and strategists, and you know, all of these different individuals working in different specializations. Everyone has the capability to benefit from Microsoft 365 Copilot and its generative AI capabilities. So now, before I start working with Copilot, I need to understand or outline what is the best way to communicate with Copilot. How can I make sure that the prompt that I'm creating is the most effective one? Because at the end, there's a certain outcome that I'd like to achieve, and creating that prompt effectively will help Copilot to use that prompt to generate the response that I'm waiting for. So there are a few guidelines or best practices around generating or creating this effective prompt. So thinking about the goal that I'm trying to achieve, I should always be clear and provide concise instructions. So we always avoid being ambiguous. We try to give as much information as possible, give context behind the request that I'm asking. So, for example, and we'll see a lot of these in a bit in the demos. But for example, I'm trying to create some sort of report, let's say a financial report, based on another document. So I can make that request as clear as possible by giving some background information about this report. Is this report something that's done quarterly or semi-quarterly or annually? Who would be in the meeting? Who would benefit from this report? What's the purpose of creating this report? And how can Copilot create the most effective or efficient format of the report? So being as clear as possible and providing concise instructions really helps boost the effectiveness of my prompt. Also, and this is very important, we trust but verify. A lot of times I get asked how accurate is Copilot, where there's something whenever we're dealing with artificial intelligence or machine learning, we always say garbage in, garbage out. So if the data that I have is clean and it's accurate, and the prompt that I'm using is effective, then I can almost certainly guarantee that the outcome would be highly accurate. But that doesn't mean that I should just use the content as it is without reviewing it first. And that's what trust but verify mentality means. It means that, sure, I can use Copilot, I can depend on Copilot, but I should never be using the content as it is. I should always review it, add to it, discuss with Copilot ways that we can enhance the content and make it even better. So that's what it's about. Trust but verify. Provide regular feedback. This is something very important that a lot of people sometimes miss. But there's a whole team within Microsoft dedicated to improving Copilot. So while using Copilot, we'll get a lot of these pop-up prompts asking us to provide feedback. So if I'm trying things out and things are working very well, but there's maybe one functionality that seems to be out of the capabilities of Copilot, but I believe that a lot of users would benefit from it and a lot of people would actually use that functionality. I can suggest that within my feedback. And I was one of the few lucky ones to get the chance to try Copilot during its early releases a bit more than 2 years ago, and we were asked to give a lot of feedback, and it wasn't the same as it was now, even though the time period is relatively short. But just seeing the development efforts that are happening on Copilot really shows the dedication of Microsoft to actually listen to the users and improve the model as much as it can and to make it more effective, to increase productivity of the users as much as possible. So providing feedback is something that can help us achieve that. Next, we should avoid over-reliance. The technology is not here to replace. That's just one of the concepts that we need to get our heads around. And the technology is not here to replace. I shouldn't be, not doing my job anymore and just relying on Copilot for everything, because it still does have its shortcomings. It's just a matter of when I see a task that could take me some time, or if I'm struggling a bit with creativity, I can use Copilot as a starting point, and just generally have a conversation with Copilot on how we can improve the piece of content that we're creating. And then I should add my own touch to it and add my own input and creativity within the content that's being generated. So definitely that puts creativity on there. And actually, I'd like to recommend to everyone to try to break Copilot. So if you've got your Copilot subscriptions ready, you start using them, start trying out different prompts, different functionalities, and see where the limitations of Copilot would be. And I think a lot of people would be surprised of how far the capabilities go. But just knowing where Copilot does fall short really helps in later on, once you're used to using Copilot, it really helps knowing what things you can use Copilot for and what things you can just use Copilot to draft or to as a starting point for you, and then taking it on from there. So get creative with your testing, try to put it under a lot of stress, and see where the limitations are. Privacy and security. Now, we mentioned that within an organization's Microsoft tenant, we've got all of these different resources. And then we've got Microsoft Graph that maps out all these relationships, and we applied large language model capabilities on top of these relationships. As part of the responsible AI framework of Microsoft, no data ever leaves the tenant. So no one from another tenant is able to see the data that's inside. Even Microsoft does not have access to your organization's data, as well as no data is being taken to train the base model. So in contrast with ChatGPT, for example, whatever prompts that you're using with Copilot, none of these data would be taken and then used to train the base model and to enhance the base model. That's not the case with Copilot at all. Regardless of that, it's a generally good practice to be careful when you're dealing with confidential or sensitive information. So sure, it's private and secure, and it's within the responsible AI framework of Microsoft, and no data will ever leave your tenant. But it's always important to just being mindful when you're dealing with sensitive information, when you're dealing with confidential data, and just being extra careful with those pieces. I also want to say regarding security, data security while using Microsoft Copilot. So a Copilot subscription or license is attached to a user license. So for me to get a Copilot license, I first need to get a Microsoft 365 subscription license. And once the Copilot license is assigned to me, it has the exact same access privileges that the user has. So if there's a document that only my manager has access to and my manager has Copilot and I'm using Copilot as well, that doesn't mean that my own Copilot can access these information. So if I don't have access to the document or to the file, by necessity, that means that me using Copilot, I still wouldn't have that access. All right. Any questions so far before we jump into some live demos? Let's get a few thumbs up in chat if everyone's still following. making sure that there aren't any issues with the audio, with my camera feed, with the slides sharing. Yeah, let's see, some thumbs up coming in. Okay, great. All right, so let's jump on to some persona-based exercises. Now for this, for all of these exercises, I would point everyone to a course on Microsoft Learn. I'll be dropping the link in chat right now. Feel free to check it out as we move along if you want to follow along with the exercises. If you want to try them on your own, we'll be doing some and we'll be leaving out some just for the time constraint of the session. But please feel free, and it's actually a great thing if you've got your Copilot subscription ready, go onto the course link, check out the different personas or different use cases and test them out for yourself. It would really help getting our heads around how does Copilot operate and how can we use it in different scenarios? How can we use it to solve different problems? So that's always recommended to test things out for yourself. Okay, so let's get onto OneDrive. I'm looking for Teams. Sorry. All right, so and by the way, so Copilot operates on a large number of Microsoft 365 applications. So looking at the applications over here, Teams, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneDrive, OneNote, all of these applications you can use Copilot on, as well as your calendar, whiteboard. Yes, do we have a question? Okay, I thought I heard some. Also, we can use it for Loop, which is a tool for collaboration that we'll see later on. So Copilot's capabilities really extends within my Microsoft 365 tenant. So we'll get started with Teams. Now, let's say I am a person in an executive position within the organization. I work on multiple projects. I have a lot of communications that are coming in one day. Sorry, Sama, you're not on mute. Unless that's intentional, then that's fine. Just pointing it out. Yeah. No. So as an executive, sorry? Yeah. No, Sama? Okay, cool. I don't think that was intentional. All right, so as an executive within the organization, I'm always very busy with a lot of meetings, a lot of chat conversations that are happening, a lot of emails that are coming in. So ideally, I would want a central location where I can consolidate all of these updates onto a single interface where I can just look at the most recent updates and look at what's happening and get an overview of what's been going on within a specific time period and being able to do it from one place instead of going here and there and maybe missing out some of the important communications that have happened. So in that case, so going into Teams, you would see the Copilot chat icon. So opening that, and then we've got this sample prompt right here. Summarize all my emails, meetings, and chats over the past 30 days related to, and then we've got a placeholder for a topic. So if there is some important project that I know my organization has been working on, and I would like to get the latest updates on that topic, excuse me, then I can use this prompt or something similar to this prompt. I can modify the time period where Copilot would look into or choose specific topic that I'd like to search. So let's say right now we're really focused on AI training. So I would say to Copilot to summarize all my communications that are related to AI training. Now, what Copilot is doing is it's going through the web of relationships that we discussed, which is Microsoft Graph, and it's searching anything that is related to, in my prompt, that is related to AI training over here. And now it's starting to formulate a response for me. So it went to my email inbox and it got all the relevant information or the latest updates regarding AI training. So here we've got an email thread about AI's role in Qatar's digital transformation 2030. And we can see that it has all the updates, what were the talking points, the emphasis, everything else. Within the email itself, I was sent an email announcing that I was assigned a task, and that task had a description, had a title, and apparently it's related to AI training. So here we can see that Ayman has assigned me a task related to Copilot Adoption Program, which is an AI training program that we have going on. How can we have gamification plans, developing IT track curriculum? So these are the tasks that were assigned to me. Another email thread, multiple email threads actually, even the documents that were shared, because I do get a notification of that on my email. Now, then we have different meetings that I went into where we discussed AI training, and if those emails are recorded and I have access to these recordings would be referenced as we see right here. So it just gives me whatever information it does have on this meeting. If it has an agenda and a description, it will include that for me. When did this meeting happen? What was mentioned? If the meeting is recorded and transcribed, I can ask it to summarize the meeting as well. Now heading on to my Teams chat, we can see I'm having multiple conversations with my colleagues regarding AI training. You can see as well that these titles refer to meetings, and that's because meetings create a chat window once the meeting starts. So that's where this is coming from. And there we have it. So just with a simple prompt, and we've got all the email threads that are referenced. So everything that Copilot has used actually referenced it for me, so I can go to it, or I can ask more questions about it, draft a response to it, all within a central main interface over here. Okay. So next we've got creating a speech using Copilot. So if I go to OneDrive over here, all right. So here I've got a Word document that I'd like to extract insights from, and then create what's it called? Create a speech addressing the stakeholders of the organization that draws from the insights within this income statement. We can see it's in a Word format. It has all the numbers related to the revenue and costs and incomes that have happened for the time period. Yeah, right here, just getting the sample prompt. Right, so I'll create a new blank document. And once I'm drafting content within Copilot, I'll see this little prompt panel over here, where I can describe in a prompt what I'd like Copilot to create. Or if I'd like to ask questions about the document, I can go to the side panel of Copilot. But generally, when you're drafting content onto the same document, you want to use the prompt panel over here. So let's use that. And I'll put in this sample prompt over here. Write a speech for the Fabricam stakeholders that summarizes the results of the company's 2023 income statement found in the attached file, which is this file. So now I'd like to attach this file onto my prompt so that Copilot can use it as a reference. So there are a lot of ways we can do that. One of them is just adding a / and then we can see what types of components or elements I can reference. And we can see here I can either reference a Word document or a PowerPoint presentation, but I can also reference meetings, emails, etc. So here I can reference a meeting and it will start using the agenda, the description, whatever happened in the chat conversation of that meeting. And if the meeting was recorded and transcribed, it can use a summary from the transcription or extract insights from the transcription of the meeting. So here I'm trying to reference the income statement. So I'll just click on that and click generate. And we can see how I followed best practice in not just saying to draft a speech, but who is the speech targeting, which is the stakeholders of the organization. What sort of file does it need to use for reference? So all of these things, excuse me, all of these things contribute in helping Copilot generate this content right here. So we can see that whatever was on the income statement sheet as numbers in a table, now it has been generated in the format of a speech addressed to the stakeholders, right? So I can read through other income and expenses result in a slight increase. So it's really summarizing a lot of the numbers. Now I can go into editor, and here I can check the score of what needs to be edited out. So it looks like it needs some improvement. But let's say I'll choose the tone first, not formal writing. I need it to be professional writing. We can see that the score even dropped a bit more. So now we try to modify some of the suggestions by editor. So Fabricam, that's an organization's name, we'll keep it. Clarity, highlighting clarity. So we remain committed. So I can say we are still committed, or I can rewrite the whole section with Copilot. So let's say this whole paragraph, I'd like to rewrite it with Copilot. We say, and Copilot here has used the context to create a new section. I can replace that, see if that promotes my score a bit. Demonstrating, let's call it proving, observed, seen. I'll just accept all the suggestions. Substantial seems like a very chunky word. For clarity's sake, let's just use large. Vocabulary, first and foremost, sure. Fiscal year. And there we go. And now my editor score is through the roof. So now I have my speech ready. If I'm happy with it, I can use it. If I'm not, I can edit it out and it'll be fine. Okay. Now on to the next exercise for executives. I'm going to, so now I've got this speech document. Let's say I'd like to create it as a presentation. So I'll open PowerPoint. Now here, if I'm creating from a blank presentation, Copilot would get more freedom in how it formats the presentation. Now, of course, we all work within organizations that have standard templates that we use all the time. So if that's the case, I can just use a template and replace it with the topic that I'm trying to achieve, and Copilot will follow that template in creating the PowerPoint. Actually, let's try that. Let's just look for the template. Let's go. Yeah, there we go. So here I've got a template, and it's not just a regular slides deck. So a template PowerPoint means that it has a design in Slide Master. So that each and every type of slide has its own design already set into it. So I can come over here and say replace with a new presentation. And if I come over here and I would like to create a presentation about this speech document right here. So now I can come over here and reference it, speech, and click generate. Now it's taking the content of the speech and then using that to create a PowerPoint presentation based on the template that I have. So we can see here that the outline has been generated for me. I can edit out. I can change the order. Let's say I do not want to include any information about taxes, income taxes. These are the talking points that I'd like to include in my slides. I can even add a section over here and describe the topic for Copilot so that it can add the talking points, but I'm not going to do that, and click generate. Now, in a second, we'll see Copilot generating the slide titles, adding in the talking points, also adding in some, creating some images that go with the talking points. And once the presentation is ready, we'll also see that even the animations and slide transitions have been created for me. So we'll see in just a minute that I have an almost ready PowerPoint slides deck that's ready for me to present. Might just need some tweaking, but generally it would be good to go. Okay, so here I'll have an overview of what it looks like. If I'm happy with it, I'll keep it. And if I go into slideshow mode, we'll see the transitions and animations. So you see a lot of fading animation that's happening. Slide transitions as well. Title slides have the same format as the original template. Some images were created as well by Copilot to go with the talking points. You can see the font, the colors, they really follow suit of the template that we started with, even the background that's used here with the logo. All right, so let's say I'd like to update this presentation. I'll use this sample prompt over here. Now, within the Copilot side panel, we can see some suggestions of what we can do with the file that we have at hand, like extracting key information, key slides, adding images, or helping me practice for presenting this presentation. So let's say I'd like to add a slide with specific content. So this is the sample prompt that I'm using. This slide should have an image of a mountain peak in the Alps. Towards the bottom, it should have the slogan or the motto, and it should add speaker notes that talk about how Fabricam cares for its customers and their requests. And I'll hit enter. Okay, now it's generating the slide that I asked for. Where is the slide that was added? Yeah, there we go. So it has done what I've asked it to do. Might not be the best outcome, but it's a great starting point. So we see here the image that was generated with the model that includes the notes. Let's see notes for some reason. Maybe if I put in desktop. Okay, so where is my mountain? Seven. Just taking a second to load. So this is the slide that we added, which has the image of the mountain. Is just loading. We can see here it also added the notes as I requested. Might take a second to load, but that's okay. And if I'm not happy with the result, there's another AI tool that I can use, which is Designer, which can help me change the layout of the slide a bit and give me ideas of how I can present the slide a bit better. So we can see here, now this one follows suit a bit more closely to the template that I used. So I can choose that. There we go. So what started out as an income statement in tables and numbers, so I've taken that that abstract concept or that hard concept of numbers in a table. Then I've generated a speech to stakeholders, and using that speech, I created a PowerPoint presentation. So I think it's, and all of this was done in the span of 20 minutes. So I think that makes it very easy to recognize how efficient Copilot is and how it can be used to really accelerate my productivity as an executive. Any questions so far? No?
All good here.
All good. Okay, great.
That's brilliant.
Wonderful. All right, jumping into our next persona. So now we're taking off the executive hat and we're putting on the sales hat. So as a sales specialist or as an expert in sales, you'll work a lot with researching and reporting. You'll have also a lot of numbers that you might need to consider. You can have multiple agreements that you'd like to compare. So these are the two exercises that we're interested in here. So let's start with the first one, creating a market search report. So here we've got a product and we would like to make a new market entry into a specific market. And I'd like Copilot to help me generate a report in order to be able to make a decision later on whether we should take that decision or not, or I'd like it to recommend that for me. So for this exercise, I'm going into Loop. Be somewhere over here. Yeah. All right, so Loop is an application where we can create a workspace to collaborate on. So within the workspace, oh, I've already created that. Delete that. So within my workspaces, so for each project, I can create a workspace where team members can go on the workspace and generate ideas, and we can collaborate in real time. We can say what are the latest updates. We can reference other Microsoft 365 applications or files. So it's like a large space where we meet and we can use during our meetings for announcing the latest successes. What are the latest updates going on in our projects? Someone can share a piece of documentation that we should all be modifying and suggesting improvements and changes to it. We can be discussing strategies. So we can do all of these things on Microsoft Loop. So I'd like to create a market research report on Loop so that other team members can contribute to it as well. So I can use Copilot's help to again either create the content or analyze existing content and extract key insights for it. So let's say I'm the vice president for sales, and I'd like to use this sample prompt. So we're an OEM in plastics manufacturing, and we're trying to research the market for plastic components in the automotive industry. And I'm not going to stop there because that's not part of the best practices of creating the prompt, I'm going to go on and announce my expectations or declare my expectations from Copilot on what to include within the response. So I'll say provide information on target audience, market size, competition, trends, regulations, and distribution channels. And I'll hit generate. And if you had noticed, there was a little icon that we could have used to reference other sources as well. Now it's taking my prompt and generating based on my prompt, whatever it is that I'm trying to achieve. So we can see here, yeah, we've got the market research report, target audience. There we go. Electric vehicle manufacturers, automotive manufacturers. What is the market size and compound annual growth rate? 5%. What was the competition? What are the trends? The different regulations in the industry, and the distribution channels. So we've got that over here. So if I'm happy with it, I can use it, or I can say, so I'll come over here, Copilot over here, and say rewrite in the format of the table. I'll just wait for it to finish, and then I should be able to see. Yeah, if I copy that over here, I think I could have just done it over here. So let me try that again. Oh, I need the prompt to replace. There you go. So it has included all of these information that, or the content that it has generated, it has included it in the format of a table. Now, let's say I'd like to add a piece of a section recommending whether we should move into the market or not based on the research outcome. So I'll add that. And there we go. It has added a recommendation section, and what has it decided? So based on everything that is just research, it is recommended to move into the plastic components in the automotive industry. Excuse me. So now it becomes a matter of me having all the facts with the help of Microsoft 365 Copilot, and now we can make an informed decision about this new strategy or new movement that we're trying to make happen within the organization. So we've got the facts, we can look into them. Some team members can, so some team members can collaborate on this document and edit things out, and we'll be able to see it real time. And that's the fun about Loop. All right, so next thing would be supplier agreements. So let's go into OneDrive here. Sorry, someone's just banging on my door. I'll be back in just a minute. All right, I'm back. I wish opening doors was one of Copilot's abilities, but it is what it is. Okay, so again, I'm someone working in sales. I've got multiple agreements from suppliers, and I'd like to compare these agreements. So we can see here, we've got Tailwind Traders, we've got Wide World, and we've got Contoso. All of these are supplier agreements that have been provided to me with the different terms inside them. Now I can do it the old-fashioned way and just analyze all of these different agreements and see what works for us the most, and see how we can have better agreements or what terms would make it better for us. Or I can simply use Copilot. So if I come over here and I'd like to use this prompt, that's great. Now let me open a blank document. And use this. So I'm the sales manager of the company, a supplier of various grocery, and I'm giving it context about the company as well. Let's not forget about that. I would like to create a report that compares the supplier agreements that we just saw. And what do I need to be included within my draft is to provide a recommendation on contract renewals that can provide me or my company, my organization that I belong to, with more favorable terms. Now, the only thing left to do is to attach these three agreements here so that Copilot can compare between them. Another way to reference a file is to browse files from cloud. And a rule of thumb, by the way, in order to reference any documents for Copilot or any files for Copilot, it needs to be either on OneDrive or SharePoint, and I need to have access to it, of course. So if it's on OneDrive, SharePoint, I can use these files and to reference to Copilot. Copilot will have the ability to see those files. Now, unfortunately, there isn't the ability to select multiple files at once, so I'll have to do it one by one. So let's start with Tailwind. Then the next one would be Contoso. And the last one would be Wide World. And all I have to do is click Generate. Now it's scanning all three agreements, and it's taking into consideration my request to it to generate a recommendation. So first it will compare and then recommend which one would be better, and how can I get more favorable terms. So here we see that between payment terms, these are the differences, and the information is really consolidated into one. Early payment discounts, we've got it, expiration. So all of the different components within each agreement are being compared for every supplier. And in the end, we've got a recommendation. So with Tailwind Traders, how can I get more favorable terms? What would make the agreement more feasible for me as an organization? So for Tailwind, for example, it suggested negotiating a shorter renewal term. So it allows me that flexibility for adjustments in the contract, etc. So it has done that for each supplier. And now I've got a conclusion saying that all of these recommendations, if they're put in place, we can achieve more favorable terms. So now I can reach out to these suppliers and try to negotiate the terms as recommended by Copilot, and see which agreement later on becomes the better one. If I'm happy with that, I can keep it so I can use it for later. Any questions? Can we get a few thumbs up in chat just to liven things up? There we go. Yeah, love to see it. All right. Great, great. A lot of thumbs up coming in. Great. All right, on to our next role. We've just been hired as the director of IT. Exciting. All right, so let's say we've got a new project coming up where we'll be installing a new network security product, and we'd like to create a full-on project plan using Copilot. So let's get through here. By the way, all of these exercises and sample prompts are from the Microsoft link that I just that I put in chat earlier. So we can use that on our own to test out all of these functionalities. So let's come over here and just get the prompt as it is. You can go into so we're done with the supplier agreements. And I'll go over here and use this prompt. I'm the director of IT. Create a project plan for installing a new network security product into a corporate network. Base this plan on IT industry guidelines for installing network security products. Okay, so the last sentence here, the last bit, this is what tells Copilot that, okay, I'll need to get on the web and get some information off the web on the best practices when installing new network security products on a corporate network. Me writing this sentence, including that sentence in my prompt, is what tells Copilot that do not generate all the content from what we have inside our tenant, but base it off some content from the web as well. And as soon as I hit generate, it will create a project plan. And we can see it has divided it into phases, included risk management as well. So now we've got a full-on plan. Now I can take this and elaborate on it furthermore. I can use it as a reference to create a collaborative workspace on Loop, or to create a plan on Whiteboard, which we'll see later on. But let's say that's good. But I'd like to see if we can do a bit more with that. So I'll say here, put in this prompt to edit it out. While that was a good start, it's missing important areas. And now I'm asking Copilot to include more areas: testing, quality assurance, training, communication, document reporting. Now clicking generate. It hasn't formatted it as well as the first one, which I can ask it to do. So format the new content just added as titles and points. Enter. So it has added the sections that I've just identified in the format that I requested. If I'm happy with that, I can keep it. If not, I can regenerate just to see what comes. Now, let's say I'm happy with that, but I'd like to include specific information. Not this one, sorry. Let's say I've got a product specification document, and I'd like to reference that. So, oh, I need to attach, so I cannot do that from here. Keep that, and then over here, I say this version looks better. Please find the attached file, which is a product specification for CypherGuard Sentinel X7. And I would like to use information from the product specification to update the project plan. So if I go over here and I browse in the cloud files, CypherGuard. And there we have it. Now it's taking into consideration the product specification, and it's outlining the plan. We can see that it's getting the deployment steps based on the document that I've provided. Now it has the technical specifications of the specific product I'm trying to deploy, etc. Let's say I'm happy with it, keep it, and now I've got this full guide on creating this or starting this project. Now I have a ready plan for it. Now, update a technical report. Let's get to that. Go to OneDrive. Okay. So I've got this technical overview of a VPN, of what VPNs are in general, and pros and cons of implementation, installation specifics. So now I can use the side panel. So let's say I'd like to dive deeper into the pros and cons. So I want to write a new section about types of VPNs and the pros and cons of each type. And what is this content for? So this is background information or more context for Copilot, and I'll hit generate. Now we'll see that the content is not directly being added to my document because I'm not using the draft with Copilot icon here. I'm using the side panel, but here we can see that a section was generated with the different types of VPNs and the pros and cons of each. Now over here, I can come to the document itself and click insert, and voila. We've got all the types and the pros and cons of each. Right, looks good. Maybe we'll do a couple more, and then we'll head on to the creativity exercise. All right, so let's get to marketing. I'm gonna go back. Actually, let's do the spreadsheet one, see some functionalities within Excel. Right. All right, so over here, let's delete those. We're not gonna need them. So we've got this sheet right here of market trends of a product from Contoso called chai tea. We can see the total sales, total sales per type of product. So we've got something called artisanal and something called pre-made chai. We have the social media engagement, the number of views, the number of online searches, and the engagement per sale, which is a formula. Now with Copilot and Excel, you do not really have something to draft, and you cannot reference other files within Excel. So in Word, you can reference Word, PowerPoint, emails, and meetings. With PowerPoint, you can only reference Word documents. In Excel, you cannot really reference other documents. So Copilot within Excel just operates on the Excel sheet that it's in. So coming over here, I can see some of the suggested prompts that I can ask Copilot. So I can suggest a formula column. So let's say I would like to add some form of KPI here in a column, but I'm not really sure how to calculate it. So I can ask Copilot to do that. Or I can ask Copilot to summarize the sheet using pivot tables and charts, or extract deeper insights, even formatting rules, etc. I can use Copilot for that. So let's say I'd like to suggest a formula column. Now it's going over my sheet, trying to understand the relationships between the different columns. and then thinking about ways that we can calculate some form of KPI. So we can see here it has calculated the engagement rate. So the number of social media views divided by the total units sold. So it's trying to gauge how effective is or how indicative are social media engagement views, how relevant are they, how related are they to sales. If we get higher social media engagement, does that mean we're selling more, or is it really not correlated? And you can see here it's showing the explanation of this formula that it has used. Now, if I'm happy with that, I can just insert the column. And by understanding the formula, we can say that the lower the engagement rate in percentage, because it's the number of views divided by the number of sales. So the lower the engagement rate means the closer the views are to the actual number of sales, which means it might have more impact. So let's go on to another suggestion, show data insights. Now I'd like to create visual representation of my Excel sheet. So I'll use Copilot to create that for me. Now it has created the engagement rate by date, which is the engagement rate, the formula that we've calculated here, versus the date that we've got in the sheet. Let's add all insights to grid, and we'll have a full-on sheet with all these different relationships being mapped out onto charts. So we see all of these relationships over here. So engagement rate by date, social media by date as well, social media engagement views. And we can see there's an outlier here on the 30th of July. Now I can go back in my documentation and try to find out what was so special about this date. Was there a new promotional campaign that we just launched and it was a huge success? So really all of these relationships can help me map out where am I succeeding, and it can make analyzing the data and making sense of the data much more easier, eventually making my own life easier. Okay. Any questions? Anyone have any inputs on what we're seeing right now? Good. Are we happy? Great. Right. Maybe let's take HR. Yeah, that's a fun and useful one. So human resources. Now let's say I've got a description, a document that describes what a particular role does. What is the role? What are the responsibilities of people in that role? And now let's say I need to hire someone within that role, so I need to create a job description. So first I'm going to create a job description from the description of roles and responsibilities. Then I'm going to use that job description as a reference and compare different resumes to that job description to find out who's the best fit, or to rank the candidates from most fitting to least fitting. So let's get on to do that. Let's open OneDrive over here and go to HR. Okay, so we can see here. So I've got the core responsibilities of my design team, and we can see different responsibilities related to collaboration, design, communication, and research, testing as well. So I've got all of these different responsibilities. I'd like to create a fully functioning job description from that. So I'll just open a new blank document and get to the HR use cases. All right. All right, so in this scenario, I'm the HR manager. I'm going to use this sample prompt right here. I'm the HR manager at Graphic Design Institute, and we're starting the hiring process for a senior animation designer. Now, I'd like to create a job description document from this roles and responsibilities document over here. So I'm going to reference it over here. Yep, there it is. And we can see that there is content being generated on that really consolidates all of the different responsibilities and gives a job overview for the role that we're trying to hire for. Now I can edit edit the draft generated and say we need to include more details basically. So outline each responsibility area and select only the responsibilities required of a senior animation designer. And click generate. Now it has created another draft that's more suitable to my request. Okay, so now I'll keep that. And now I've got this job description document. Now I'd like to, so now let's say I've used this job description. I've gotten a few applicants that have sent me their resumes. So now I can start comparing the existing job description with the resumes that I have, just to try to find the best fit for the role that I'm hiring for. So I'll use this prompt. We're hiring for the position of senior animation designer, and we can see how we're always not being ambiguous with the prompts. We're always trying to be as clear and concise as possible. So please create a report that compares the attached resumes to the requirements for a senior animation designer in the attached job description and rank the candidates from most qualified to least qualified. Now, I'm not saying we can use the outcome to actually decide who gets the job or not. As we said, trust but verify. So we need a human being in the loop. We need someone to review the results and verify that this person that was recommended by Copilot is actually the right fit for the role. But the only thing left for us to do in this prompt is to attach all of the resumes along with the job description. So we've got the job description here. Now let's go to the resumes. There we go. Alex. And Molly. All right, so now we've attached all 4 resumes plus the job description, and now we can compare between the resumes using the job description as a reference. Right, so now first it took into consideration the overview of the role that we're seeking and the different requirements that are needed, and then it started comparing between the different candidates. So Alex, in terms of education, experience, skills, effects, portfolio, and qualities, and then the other ones as well. And then it recommended a ranking of candidates, and it justified why it's ranking them that way. So we can see The top candidate is Patty with over 10 years of experience, proficiency in various animation software, making her the top candidate for the role. If I'm happy with that, I can keep it, or I can regenerate the same draft, or I can ask for improvements as well. And there, with just a few clicks and a few prompts, I have a document that can help me gauge who could be the best candidate for my job seeking opportunity. All right, let's maybe do one more. Yeah, let's go on. Whiteboard. So we'll go to apps over here. Where's whiteboard? There we go. So whiteboard is another collaborative application. You can think of it as sticky notes on steroids, basically. So you've got a whiteboard that you can fill in with flowcharts or sticky notes, and you can have team members collaborate on them in real time. If we're all on the same whiteboard, I can ask everyone to follow me, and we can discuss different components on the whiteboard, etc. Now we can use Copilot within Whiteboard as well to help us generate some ideas or to brainstorm with us some ideas. So now let's say we're installing a new boiler within our building, and I'm the operations manager of the company. I need to create a high-level plan for this new project. So I'll come to Copilot over here and say, I'm the operations manager. We're installing a new boiler. Please suggest the steps we should follow. And then click generate. Sometimes with Whiteboard, Copilot struggles to, so it generates the content fine, but when it displays it, it gets stuck sometimes. I can try generating a couple more times. And if that doesn't work, then I can just simplify the prompt a bit. So let's take that out, simplify the prompt. Okay. So I'm take that over here. It's a lot of trial and error, and it's a problem of displaying the generated content, not the generation of the content itself. Okay. Maybe removing the word please might do the trick. Let's say the steps needed. It doesn't get much simpler than that, does it? Say what are the steps to install new boiler in a heating system? I'll lay that as a question. Hopefully it will do the trick. I really skimmed it down to the maximum.
Yeah, it has given up on me. All right, but so I've done this before and I was able to generate these notes. Um, let's start with a more basic one. No. Okay, so this is the content that I generated before, and it was not categorized like that. I just went to Copilot and clicked. So after the notes were created, I clicked categorize and chose the notes. Then I was able to categorize in chunks. If I'm happy with that, I can keep it. And let's say I'd like to summarize the content here or these notes over here. There you go. So it's summarizing that 12 ideas were generated and the themes or the categories used were preparation, installation, connection, and testing. And it has included a drawing on the whiteboard or a reference to the whiteboard that we created. Now this summary now exists in Loop. As we can see over here, I can open it in Loop and people can collaborate on it. And yeah, so they can collaborate on it in real time in Loop. So now we have a whiteboard plan in the form of notes, and we have a Loop page as well within a workspace with the summary of this plan. Any questions? No? All good? All clear? Sorry? Okay. Now, of course, there's not a session that's long enough to go through all of the functionalities of Copilot. But for example, if we go to Outlook, so some of the functionalities we can have in Outlook, for example, if I go to an email thread that I don't want to be bothered in reading it all and extracting all of the information, I can just go to the thread and click summarize. And now Copilot will go through the thread and just give me the main idea behind the thread in a summary format. So here my colleague Fadi and I were discussing AI's role in Qatar's digital transformation in the public sector. And we can see that Copilot outlines what were the talking points, what did we agree on, what were the next steps, etc. And I can ask Copilot more information about this thread. Alternatively, I can draft a response to the latest email. So if I go to Copilot draft, so there you go. Now, what do I want this email to say? Update Fadi on our latest trainings. Make it sound casual. So here, we've had some great sessions on using AI-driven chatbots for citizen services, predictive analytics, and it's getting all of these different contexts from Microsoft Graph. I can edit it out, make it shorter, make it longer, or change the tone, make it direct, casual, formal, or like a poem, if that's something you want to do. Another functionality within Outlook is, let's say, in one of the emails, Fadi was discussing great ideas that we thought it might be better to take it into a meeting. So now by going to the email and seeing this icon over here, scheduling with Copilot. So if I click on that, Copilot will use the context from the email thread to generate a title, to invite the attendees that were within the thread and suggest a time that could be suitable. Of course, I can change that, etc. And we can see here, I can also include within the invitation an attachment of the email. and an agenda that was created by Copilot and a summary of the conversation. So if I'm happy with that, I can click insert and send the invitation to Fadi right away. All right, so these are just some other functionalities of Copilot that could be very helpful and useful. So yeah, so there are a lot of other exercises that we currently don't have the time to get into because we get into another type of exercise right now. But there are more exercises for finance department, more exercises for all of the different departments that we didn't go through. So if you want to check out the Microsoft Learn link, yeah, it's this one over here. So this is the title of the course, Empower Your Workforce with Microsoft Use Cases. And we can see here the different use cases that we can use, we can try out, and there's even a challenge use case at the end over here. Right? Okay. All right, so for our next activity, we'll be using Microsoft Edge. So we'll be using the Copilot website, which is this over here, copilot.microsoft.com. It's free to use. It doesn't require a subscription or anything. Let me just clean up this mess over here. So I'll be dropping the link in chat. If you'd like to go on the exercises and do them as we're going through them, maybe try different prompts, try to get different results. If you want to share the results with the group, that would be exciting as well. So yeah, let's go to the link. What is happening? Search link. Here we go. So this course is titled Design a Dream Destination using Microsoft Copilot. So in this exercise, we'll be generating ideas first with Copilot about a dream destination that we're dreaming up. So we're trying to, in this exercise, we're trying to create a new dining experience. So we're having, we're generating brainstorming ideas with Copilot around creating the theme of the restaurant, creating the menu, the signature drink, creating images of what the restaurant will look like, try to generate ideas of the name of the restaurant for the sake of branding. So it's going to be a lot of back and forth between us and Copilot. Going over here, we'll first define the idea and set the context. So it's a really good practice with Copilot is to first start with a role-based prompt. And the purpose of a role-based prompt is to tell Copilot whose role is it playing. So we've got this sample prompt over here. So let's first open Copilot. So if you want to try out these exercises with us as we go, just go to copilot.microsoft.com. Let me drop it in chat as well. And then you'll sign in using your personal email ID and you'll be in. So a good practice when using Copilot or any generative AI for that matter is to first start with a role-based prompt, as we said. Now, if we take a look at this role-based prompt, it's setting the context, it's setting the tone with Copilot. You're an extraordinary experiential designer. So I'm telling Copilot who are they? So who is Copilot in this context? And I'm giving Copilot words such as unique talent for crafting immersive experience that ignite the senses. Your creative prowess knows no limits as you dream up audacious spaces that awaken the imagination. So Copilot uses all of these phrases and words to put itself in a mood, sort of, if so. So here I'm setting the context. I'm telling Copilot who it is, who it should be, the role it should be playing. Now we can try. Let's try this prompt over here. While you're doing your exercise,
on your own, feel free to change up some of the qualities, some of the adjectives that we're using in the prompt to describe Copilot. So you might want to make it less dreamy than it is with this prompt. You might want to make it more realistic. Your project is something that needs to happen in real life. So you want to make it in a certain theme, in a certain state of mind. So you want to put Copilot in this state of mind before beginning creating anything. You can see here that we're not asking Copilot to do anything yet. We're just setting the context. We're setting the image. Thank you, Jacob. My pleasure. So yeah, so here we're setting the mood. Let's click enter on that prompt. And we can see the response directly from Copilot is it has put itself in that role. Your kind words are truly enchanting, generally thrilled. Let's start by discussing the theme or story you want to tell. So right away, I put it into this state of mind where it can, where it can dream up or help me generate the ideas that I'm trying to create. Okay, so let's go over here. All right, so while you're trying this exercise on your own, so in the prompts of this exercise, which you're free to change and test out for yourself, of course, the place is a restaurant and the theme is magical, and I think it's in the nature, in the forest, and the location is the restaurant is actually in a tree. So it's on like a tree house. You can use other themes. You can use other places like a hotel, theme park. I even tried it with a beach. I got great results. The theme can be futuristic, mid-century, Gothic, realistic, whatever. And the location, so the location for this exercise is in the rainforest. You can think of location being in outer space or behind a waterfall. So get as creative as you'd like with this exercise. Okay, so now we're going to start introducing the idea to Copilot to help it generate or create that image. So I'm going to say I have an idea that I want to work on. Can you help me create a paragraph with a travel marketing tone? So I'm setting the purpose of the document that I'm trying to create. It should focus on the following points, the ones that I have over here. And I've clearly stated to Copilot to forget about the name. Do not suggest any names because what I'm trying to do is I'm going to generate the concept first and generate the theme and talk a lot back and forth with Copilot so that when it actually suggests some names for the place, it will have all of these information in mind when suggesting those names. So it's a new destination experience. It's a cozy, secluded restaurant located deep in the woods. It's high above the ground, built into the branches of a tree. The theme is organic nature meets invitation-only destination. So it's like an exclusive VIP destination that is secluded within nature. So I'm going to use that prompt. And what I'm asking for here is a paragraph in the tone of a travel marketing ad or something. So you can see here, nestled deep within an enchanting forest, an extraordinary new destination. So you can see right away how it's being formulated in the format of a travel marketing piece. All right, now let's move on. Okay, no, I want to do that over here. Okay, great. Now we're going to start creating the hero image. And the hero image is, it should serve as the first thing that comes to mind when people hear about your place that you're creating. All right. So we're going to copy this prompt. And this here is just a sample of the image that was generated from this test over here. So we can see here, can you create an image that visualizes the exterior of this destination from a distance? So that's great. Let's use that. And we can guarantee that we're not going to get the same outcome, even if it's similar, given everything we've discussed with Copilot, but it's still going to have some remarkable differences. Wow. Okay. So we can see here the restaurant has been created. It's magical, it's secluded, it's exclusive within the forest. It's built actually within branches of a tree. It seems like something out of a movie. Now I can suggest changes to that image. So I can say I'll make it more realistic and make it as if the image was taken at night during the light of stars. So I'm suggesting changes, and now Copilot is considering these changes and generating more content for me. Now, there we go. We've got another image. We can see it's totally different, but it still captures the same essence or same spirit of the theme that we're going with. Right, so the ability of Copilot to deal with texts and as well as images, and that wasn't always the case. Generative AI models used to only deal with one, with text basically. But with the new architecture of artificial intelligence, now it's called multimodal. Multimodal meaning that it can deal with text and images as well. So it can take my prompt of text and generate images out of it. Or I can, and we'll see that later on, I can upload an image and ask it to modify a pre-existing image with a component from that uploaded image, or use the uploaded image as an inspiration. So multimodal means it can work flexibly between these two modes, whether it's text or image generation. It has both of these abilities. We can also see here that there's
and how need to do
yeah.
I'll then do it together with.
Said, you're off mute. Is there a question? I always like to point it out. I don't like. It's kind of.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I just don't want any important information to leak out unintentionally or anything. It's okay. It's totally fine. So we can see here that there's a microphone icon, and it's called Talk to Copilot. So I can actually use my voice commands as well to, and instead of prompts in text, I can apply prompts with voice. So I can literally talk with Copilot, and it will take my speech and convert it to text and use that text as the prompt for its generation. All right, so we've got our hero image over here. Now we can modify it. We can create some modifications or some suggestions to it. If I'm happy with it, I can keep it. Now, the entrance, I would like to have a brainstorming session with Copilot and ask Copilot to give me ideas on the entrance that this restaurant should have. So for this destination, I want to think about the entrance. It should embrace the theme of this destination, which Copilot already knows. And that also means that Copilot keeps the conversation history as context. So it doesn't deal with each prompt as a new conversation, but it takes the whole conversation history between us in this session and uses that as context to keep generating more content. So the entrance should be memorable, and I wanted to suggest 3 ideas for the entrance that fulfill the criteria. All right, so let's copy and paste that. And we can see right away that it has created 3 ideas for the entrance, either an enchanted pathway, a lantern-lit pathway that meanders through the woods, or a suspended bridge. Ooh, that sounds exciting. And it's describing each and every idea that it's generating. Soft glowing lights embedded in the bridge, or a secret garden archway. So it's a lush green archway covered in vibrant, fragrant flowers and ivy. So I'm gonna go with the suspended bridge. I'm gonna use the sample prompt over here and say I like the idea about the suspended bridge, and I'd like Copilot to elaborate on that. So now it's
going on with a description about the entrance, adorned with delicate glowing lanterns, and surrounded by soothing sounds of the forest, rustling of leaves, chirping of birds. We can still see that the persona prompt is still continuous with Copilot, and he's already in the mood of this enchantment and magical creation mood. Okay, if I'm happy with that, if I'd like to edit it out, make it shorter. So can you rewrite that description in a tone that you find in a travel publication? And I'd like to make it shorter, so a single paragraph. Maybe I want to use all of this content, which that's actually the purpose of this exercise. I'm going to use all of this content generated maybe in a PowerPoint or in a Word file and create flyers out of it or create marketing materials from it. And I've been using Copilot to help me generate the ideas in the first place. So it has generated the description, and now it's in a travel publication style document, and it's a single paragraph as I requested. And now I would like to create an image that visualizes that description, and we can see here. Okay, the entrances for the sample in the exercise. This is the response they got. The entrance is a giant hollow log that invites you to slide down a dark hole, and we see here the entrance being represented. So I'm trying to get one of my own, so I want to create the image of the entrance he just described. And there we have it. It's a suspended bridge lit by lanterns on the side, some lights within the grass, and we can see the image is getting fuller and fuller. All right, great. Different features. Okay, so we're gonna start working on the features of the place. We want to create some unique features of the place that make it different from any other place to use that as branding and marketing materials. So we're going to say, given what you know about this destination, again, referring to the context that exists in our conversation history, I would like to suggest 5 unique interior or exterior features that people might visit. So sounds like a good prompt. Let's use it. And I've outlined the expectations as well to list them with the name and the description for each feature or each space within the destination. So right away, it has described a canopy lounge, enchanted dining hall, the whispering waterfall, that's what it's gonna call it, secret garden pavilion, starlight observation deck. So we've got 5 fresh ideas of new, unique spaces that we can actually perform, or we can actually apply to this destination that we're trying to create. So let's, let's move on over here. Okay, so we want to work on a few of these ideas, and we're going to choose one idea to work on first. What is it? What should we choose? Maybe the waterfall? Whispering waterfall. And again, it has provided us with alternative names, keeping it about the same length, and writing a description for that space. Right? So here it has used the canopy nook, and it has created this space. Let's the enchanted cascade. Sure, I'll go with that. What you call the enchantment cascades.
Okay, wow. If this was a real place. Okay, so we've got the generated image over here, which can be used. I can export, download all of these images and take all of these descriptions and apply them on a PowerPoint presentation, as we said, and use that as marketing material. All right, so going into this exercise, going through this exercise, we'll see that we can also plan the menu. So even the food items, we'll use the same strategy. First, we'll generate ideas, then we'll modify the drafts, and then we'll generate the image of the idea that we have set our eyes on. So here we've got different menu items, and we generated the image for the first item, which is the salad. And here we have an image of that item. Then we can create a signature drink. Again, first generate the ideas, then fix on one ideas and try to improve it as much as possible, and then generate that image over here. Okay. All right, so actually let's okay, so maybe we're going to skip the ideation phase. So we're going to generate an image for a signature drink to visualize a signature drink for the place and suggest a name for it. Okay, so we've got this signature drink over here, and it has suggested the name Forest Whisper Elixir, and it's inspired by the theme that we have over here. Now, let's say let's see if we can get this sample image. Okay, so we want to upload the image. We can use the same strategy. All right, I like this one. Let me save it. So then I can upload it to Copilot. I'll come over here and I'll say, take the image just created, add some of the smoke shown in this image and upload the image over here. And I'm trying to incorporate the element from the uploaded image onto the already generated image. Oh, I don't think I was clear enough. The signature drink just created and add some of the smoke similar to what is shown in this image. So that there we go. So it has used the colorful elements that was in the original drink, and now it has generated a new image that incorporates elements from the image I just uploaded. So that also means that Copilot can deal with uploaded content and get inspired from the uploaded content to generate content that is relevant to that uploaded component. So yeah, so here we've got more exercises within this demo, ideating about the ambience and music, creating a playlist inspired by the theme of this place, or creating branding materials. So a catchy name, a short description. Actually, let's do that. See what name it should give the destination. Given everything we've worked on, time to come up with some branding. Suggest a few options for a catchy name. So these are names for my restaurant: Whispering Woods Haven, Forest Enchantment Retreat, Secret Grove Sanctuary, Ethereal Canopy. So I can use some of these names, or I can even improve or ask for more suggestions until I get set on a name. I can even create a description to be used in my branding material, considering everything that all the conversation that I've had with Copilot, and it will generate all of these materials for me, inspired by the prompts that I was giving to it. So I think it's a very fun exercise. I recommend doing it on your own. Again, if you want to do it, it's a course on Microsoft Learn that I dropped the link in chat, and it uses the Copilot website, so it's free to use. You don't need a license for that. You can go through the exercises, and I recommend to try out different things, try out different prompts. I believe once I tried a futuristic beach in outer space beside waterfalls, and it was able to generate these materials for me. So really test it out for yourself. Consider all of the different factors, setting a role-based prompt for setting the tone and context of the conversation, using elements within the conversation history to generate more relevant content, uploading different images to inspire Copilot to use elements from those images. All of these things, using Talk to Copilot as a feature if you want to use audio prompts to tell Copilot what to do. So I think it's very fun, it's very interactive, and you can test out a lot of different scenarios with it. All right, so thank you so much for your attention, and only two things left for us to do over here. So we just, I'll ask everyone to go on Microsoft Learn and redeem using the achievement codes. You can redeem the certificate for today's session, and you'll get a nice little certificate on Microsoft Learn that you can share on LinkedIn or print out or otherwise. I'll go through the process right now. And the other thing would be to scan this code, which I'll also drop the link in chat in just a second. This is the feedback form for today's session. Feedback really helps us improve, really helps us know what we're doing well, what can be done better, if there's something I can do better. So please, your feedback is very important to us. Feel free to put your feedback on there. Now, the only thing left to do is I'll put both screens, I'll put both slides on the screen for everyone to do them. Let me just open it up here. Okay, so let's get this over here. Boom. Notes. Okay. Okay. Yes, let's remove that. Right, I'll drop the instructions to redeem the achievement code.
So basically what you need to do is go to learn.microsoft.com. Then you need to sign in with your personal Microsoft account. So that's at Outlook, at Hotmail, or at Live, and just go to Profile. Then on the left side, you should see Achievements. And you'll see a link here that says Redeem Your Code Now. That's where you'll enter the code in the chat. Click Redeem. Once that is done, you can go to Courses, and you'll see the badge for the session there. You can click the little printer icon, and then you can print it or save it as PDF, or you can share it on social media platforms or whatever it is you'd like to do with it. And for the other thing, so we'll come over here, we'll do that on the sides. Now you can either scan the QR code or go to the link. Yes. There we go. And that's it for today. So thank you, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed the session. I personally really enjoyed it very much. I hope it was light on your hearts, and I hope that you were able to see some of the more interesting functionalities of Copilot through the session. So please redeem the achievement codes and scan the QR code for the feedback form, or go to the link I just put in chat. And if you're done with that, feel free to leave. If you're facing any issues, I'll be hanging around for a bit longer in case someone has any questions during the process. Thank you very much.